Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, this isn't going to be a story. This is something I want to talk about that's been coming up a lot. And basically, if you're at a point where you are obsessed or infatuated with getting your ex back, and that's all that's on your mind, that's a time you need to take a step back and get out of that tunnel vision mode and really take a breath. Because if you're re-entering the relationship and you're like that, you come off desperate, needy, clingy, and that's highly unattractive for both males and females, but especially for a male to come off that way. Now, I wrote some notes. Having tunnel vision on getting your ex back, it's consuming you and you are obsessed by getting your ex back. That's when you need to go no contact and work on yourself. You really do, because any contact with that person ignites this obsession. And I've said it before, when people send me emails, I can almost hear the way they're writing, if that makes sense. You picture them, they're so obsessed is the word, with getting the ex back. And that's, when you're like that, it doesn't work. And you need to take a step back. This kind of attitude leads to desperate behavior, and when you don't get the reaction or results you want, in a lot of cases, it makes the individual angry. So actually, you go in there, you're sweet, you're kind, you're begging, you're pleading, and then when you don't get what you want, you get angry and you push the person away further and further and further, which isn't just unattractive, but it also can scare your partner. If you are in a begging or pleading state when you broke up, take some time away to catch your breath, literally, and take some inventory of your own life as an individual. What are you happy with and not happy with within yourself? Don't be down on yourself. There's some things you might be happy with. Don't just sit there and say how horrible a person you are. Find the good and the bad. Do you have any goals outside this relationship that you are pursuing? Is this relationship really good for you right now? These are important questions outside of getting your ex back. Or are you chasing that honeymoon period when you got along so well it almost felt magical? When you break up and you've been together a while, you have been building a case. What I mean by that, like a law case, with your partner about the kind of person you are, and in many ways the kind of person you will continue to be. So if you're together a year, 2 years, and you say, oh yeah, I know I was being really insecure and I was constantly calling them and accusing them of cheating, or I was constantly telling them to say I love you. Well, you built a case about the kind of person you are, and then when you break up and you go, oh, I'm going to stop doing that, they don't believe you. You've already done something so many times that they don't believe that you can just change because you broke up. And if they do take you back, you probably are in a mindset where you're not going to change long term because you're running on a program. They collect evidence every day in your actions, stories, and behavior. By the time you break up, they have built a case. Okay? And you've also built a case on your side of what they will accept and what they don't accept. And when it gets to a point where that case that they have built gets too big and they don't believe that the bad parts of the relationship or the things that they really can't deal with are going to change, then sorry doesn't count anymore. It's what you do, not what you say. So, for example, if you are constantly jealous and insecure, but they have dealt with that, at some point they've had enough and they decide they are tired of explaining themselves. They are tired of fighting over accusations. I see this a lot. Now, once you've broken up, you can't come to them and say, well, I've changed. I know I was acting jealous. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop. And in this moment, I'll be overly sweet and understanding. It just doesn't work. It comes off as something that you're just doing in the moment. And it might work once or twice. But if you revert back to the same behavior, then you're just proving them correct. It doesn't erase the case they built over the last year. The short answer, they don't believe you, and they didn't just come to this conclusion of who you are. They've observed it and they've lived it. And now they don't believe you, and they don't believe you can change in a day. So they will need time away to miss you and get some space from the negative experiences that built this case that this relationship was a bad one. Those who take an ex back within the first 2 weeks of breaking up usually do it for two reasons: out of pity, or they plan to use their ex. Now, is this all the time? No. But if you get an ex back and they take you back immediately and you had a lot of problems and they're really upset, a lot of times it's pity. Or the other case, they're going to use you. Now they have the upper hand in the relationship, and using could be for money, it could be for getting rides, it could be for a variety of things. And you think like, oh, well, a lot of people, well, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And if they take you back and they're a vindictive or a selfish person, they'll use you. They may want to meet someone else, but they can't stand being alone, so they settle for taking you back. But the problems are never fixed. That's the other problem. Some people have trouble being alone. Oh, they have all these problems. They want to break up with you, but they just can't be alone for a week or 2 weeks. So they take you back, but they keep their eyes open for other things, and they're still not happy in the relationship. So at some point, you're going to break up again, most likely. Getting some time apart in most cases is best. And when you reconnect, it should be working on a new relationship that accounts for your prior character flaws and really gets to the root of the problem. And that's why I tell a lot of people a live coaching session, besides just writing out your story, really digs deeper into who you are, where you are, what happened in the relationship. And a lot of times, someone will book an hour and they'll end up going into 2 hours. Someone will book 2 hours, it'll be 2.5 hours. I just had someone do 4 hours. And because they have so much to get out and get to the bottom of and sort out because they're keeping it inside. Because let's face it, if you go to your friends and family members, they don't want to hear you for an hour or 2 hours. So you just give little bits and pieces. And a lot of times to your friends and family members, you're the hero. You're the person that wasn't wrong. You're going to hold some things back. But if you talk to me about it, I'm an unbiased, honest individual that's not going to judge you outside of this. I'm just going to give you honest feedback. Some of it you might not like, but at the end of the day, it's only going to be to serve you and help you moving forward. So I hope that helps you. Please visit writemac.com if you have a breakup story you'd like to share, or if you'd like to book a live coaching session and get deeper and deeper and really dig some of these roots out that are affecting who you are as an individual and how you're going to grow moving forward. Okay? Thank you for supporting the channel.